In this tutorial, we'll learn how to specify and utilize the number variable type. So these can be used where a numerical selector is required, such as when linking to a font size, for example. And that's the example we'll do here as well. So to begin, if I go to my variables tab within Invent and InDesign, and click on Add Variables. Now what I'm choosing at this time is a number variable. There's a few simple options that I can complete. The first is to fill in a name. And then I can select a default value. So this is the number that will be utilized by default. If it is something like a font size that we're linking to, this is the font size that will eventually be used when the product is first opened. I've got some user interface information over on the right hand side, so I can change the label if I wish to do so. And I can put in some help information. I've optionally got some validation information as well, so you can specify a minimum and a maximum number that it is possible to enter, along with some validation messages should you go outside of those ranges. So this validation is optional, but seeing as it's font size, it would be a good idea to put something in. And then I can put in some associated messages. I also have the ability to specify the step increment. So in what increment can this number picker be changed in? So you can't do anything other than integers. So for example, if I try and do a step of 0.5, it will default to an integer value. So just be aware of that. And then I'm going to click on save. Now all we need to do is link that to our relative field. So a field on our actual template itself. So we could actually make this so that it's driving the text in a particular field, for example. However, we will link it to the font size in this case. So if I click on one of my text frames and go over to the Properties tab, the first thing you need to do is make sure that the text frame you've selected is enabled. That makes it dynamic and it can then be driven from Invent. Now, one of the options we have as part of a text frame, if I look down this list a little bit, is the selection of a font size. Now, by default, you'll probably see this is set to inherit. So it's just going to inherit what's already on the document. However, in this case, we can link it to a variable. And then it will show us a list of relevant variables. So in this case, it's just the ones which allow a numerical input. So I can say number variable example. And that's it. That's the link then created. So now I'll export this template as a MEX file and I'll import this into our MegaEdit product. So with our product loaded up, we can now see that we have one variable option available in our form on the right hand side, which is a number selector. And when we change this value, either by typing in the new value or choosing these icons over on the right hand side, you'll see that the linked field, the font size being utilized changes. And we can't go outside of the ranges that we've specified. If I type in something that's outside of those ranges, you'll see that we get our associated validation warning message.